Hey everyone, it's the Asset Stacker. So today is the last day of 2025. It is December 31st. And it is time to do a review of all the gold that I purchased in 2025. So I will go ahead and pull this out where you can see it. And I'll bring you back in. We're going to look and see what we got. Alright, so to start with, we will go to the 1/10 ounce tubes. I've had from last year's purchases, we'll start with the Britannia. So last year I purchased 1/10 ounce a month. That was my goal, of 3 different types. I did the Britannias, the Canadian Maple Leafs, and the American Eagles. I started out with 1 American Eagle before 2024, so that gave me, in that tube, that gave me 13 at the end of last year. So I only needed 7 to fill that tube. But for the Maple Leaf and for the Britannias, last year was the first year that I did them, so I've got 12 that's in this tube that holds 20. So this year, my goal was to finish filling all of these tubes, and I wasn't able to find the Britannias. I did find a few. I was only able to find 3 of the 8 that I needed. So I did pick up those 3. So I will be adding those to the tube and taking them out of these flips and putting them into the storage for, so the only one that I have left, so that leaves me with 5 that I've got to find. And hopefully in 2026, between going to coin shows and things of that nature, I'll be able to locate 5 more of these so that I can at least close out this tube. I'm not going to do a second tube of these 1/10 ounce. Once I get done with these tubes for the Canadian Maple Leafs and for the Britannias, that will be it as far as me collecting 1/10 ounce of those particular types. So anyway, this is the Britannia 1/10 ounce. I get to add these 3 to the stack. And like I said, that leaves me with 5 that I need to finish filling this tube. And hopefully we'll be able to do that in 2026. So that being said, we'll move on to the Canadian Maple Leafs. And as you can see, again, these are from last year. And I do have 12 of those in this tube. And so I did work to try to find those. And I did find 8 of these. One of them is still in this flip, so let me pop that one out. And we will add it to the airtight. And that will fill the tube of Maple Leafs. Now, I will not do any more 1/10 ounce of these. My goal is to start working on filling a tube of 20 of the 1/4 ounce, but I will not be doing the 1/10 ounce. So now that this tube is completely full, I'll be able to put this one into long-term storage. I may not see this again for years. Who knows? I may not even look at it again for the rest of my life. Maybe something that hopefully the kids will mess with. Now this one, of course, the Britannias, since it's not full, hopefully be able to find those other 5, and I'll see those, this tube in 2026 and hopefully finish filling it. But we're done with this one, so that completes my first full tube of 1/10 ounce Canadian Maple Leafs. Man, it feels good to actually hold it, 2 ounces. All right, so then I had, like I said, the 1/10 ounce tube of American Eagles, and I only needed 7 to finish filling this tube. So this year, obviously, I did purchase more than just 7 of the American Eagles, but I did buy enough to fill the tube, and then I'm working on something else. that being said, if you recall earlier this year, one of the maple leafs that I purchased was this proof. And I had considered, I got this at a steal of a deal at a coin auction. And I actually thought about taking it out and just putting it in one of these airtights. But I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that or not, or if I needed to do that. And you guys were like, no, do not do that. So your recommendations to me was to just actually leave it in its original packaging because of the fact that it is a proof, and I have all the paperwork with it, that this particular coin would probably bring a better premium if they ever sold, or if we ever decided to sell it or whatever. So considering that the kids may be able to, or the wife, or me, if I have to, if we ever do need to sell, we'll just sell it as, with the original paperwork and all that. So I'm going to actually take your advice, and I'm going to put that back into its original package, and I'm just going to store that one just like it is. I hated that it took up so much room is the reason. And it looks like whoever purchased this one originally paid $135 for it. I paid, best of my memory, it was $416 is what I paid for this a couple months back. So all of that being said, that leaves me, I still need 7. Since I'm not going to add this one to the flip, I still needed 7, so I went out and bought another, and I do have enough to fill up this tube, because again, there was 13 in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and number 7. So all of that being said, that leaves me with an extra. I will put these into long-term storage, and that leaves me with an extra 1/10 ounce there, and then one that is actually not even in an airtight. So what I'm going to do with that is this. So in 2026, one of my goals are going to be really doing an experiment. I am going to do a 1/10 American Eagle challenge per month, buying it 2 different ways. I really feel like, and I'm going to do an experiment to verify this, but I feel like as I've gone to coin auctions and as I've gone to LCSs and things of that nature, I have found that the best way to purchase gold and even silver is by doing it in-person deals. So like buying at LCSs or going to coin shows. So I think that you'll always get better deals when you purchase your gold and silver in those type venues. I don't have a problem with online. Well, I do a little bit. So peer-to-peer and buying from LCSs, for most of us, it's something that you can purchase and it be private. Nobody knows that you have it. The government does not know. But obviously when you're purchasing stuff online, that is not the case. So that's one bad thing about online. But secondly, I just feel like after paying attention to my purchases and how I purchase things in 2025, I didn't do a lot of online purchases. I would go to coin shows, and I was finding that whatever the lowest premium the day of the coin show that I was getting ready to leave, I would look online and find the lowest online listed price that I could find for the 1/10 ounce gold. And I would go to a coin show, and I was able to pick those up for at least, usually on average, right around $20 per 1/10 ounce cheaper than the cheapest I could find online. And it's just that personal. You can't negotiate pricing with an online dealer. So I'm going to do an experiment. I believe that I could get 12 a year both ways, so that'd be one a month. On average, I believe by going to coin shows and going to LCSs in my area. And those are the only two avenues that I'm going to use for this experiment. I am not going to use the coin auction. I get great deals at the coin auctions. Those are done weekly in my area. But I realize that most of you guys don't have access to that type of an environment. So I'm going to just stick with coin shows and LCSs. And that is the only two places that I'm going to purchase the 1/10 ounce American Eagles. And I'm going to make sure that it's an American Eagle. It's not going to be a maple. If I buy a Britannia to finish filling my Britannia tube, the 5 that I need will not count in these purchases, because we're going to compare American Eagle to American Eagle purchase each month. And what I'm going to do, in order to be fair with the spot pricing, because it fluctuates so much throughout the month, or throughout the day sometimes, what I'm going to do is, when I run across a 1/10 ounce at my local coin shop, or if I have a coin auction within my radius that I go to, not an auction, but a coin show, then what I will do is, the day that I purchase the one in the wild, I will go online immediately and order the cheapest one that I can find online. And that way we're comparing as close to the same spot price as possible on the same day of the month, and try to compare apples to apples, what you're able to, how much money at the end of the year I could save by buying in the wild from people. And it's just about dealing with people and personal relationships. When you build relationships with people, that's where I find that I get most of my deals. So all of that being said, here's what I'm going to do. I am not going to fill another one of these tubes of American Eagles. What I do plan on doing is, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill a full mint tube. Now, I'm not going to do it this year, but these two coins that I bought, that was more than what would fit into these airtights tubes. I'm going to take these, and I am going to put these two into a mint tube, which actually holds 50. So at the end of my experiment in 2026, I'll be able to add the 12 that I bought in the wild and the 12 that I bought online at the end of by December of next year. And that'll add 24 coins to the mint tube that will hold 50 of these. I am not going to put them in airtights this coming year. I'm going to leave these raw, where I can kind of touch them and hold them. And the reason being is because of the fact these are not pure gold as far as 3 nines fine. They're more durable, and that is the one thing I like about the American Eagle. But I've never just held a bunch of them in my hand. So I am going to go ahead and fill a mint tube and they actually say the mint tube holds 50. This is not a mint tube. This is actually a tube that you put dimes in. I do not have a mint tube. I have actually gone online to try to find an empty one to purchase off of eBay or Amazon or any place I could find it. Even SD Bullion and some of the dealers, online bullion dealers. I cannot find a 1/10 ounce empty tube for 1/10 ounce Eagles. They're all sold out everywhere. But eventually, hopefully, between here and by the end of 2026, I'm hoping to be able to find the actual mint tube. But until then, I'm just going to stick these in here. Like I said, I'm not going to fill another airtight. So that is what I'm going to do. That is my plan. So there's those. So that is it for the purchases that I did this year of the 1/10 ounce. But that being said, I did start working on my 1/4 ounce. Even though I was not able to find a Britannia, like I said, I still need 5 Britannias in the 1/10 ounce. And even though I couldn't find that, I was able to run across a deal from a LCS on the 1/4 ounce. So I did go ahead and I swiped that one. And then earlier this year at a coin show, I found a deal, paid at the time, paid $780 for this 1/4 ounce American Eagle. That was about $20 over the melt value, best of my memory, for this coin. It might have been $10 over melt. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look at the video. But, again, great deals by doing it from the coin shows and LCSs. So, but I do have the tubes. I'm not going to just put those in a separate tube. I'm just going to keep them together for right now. I'll separate them, but for now, as far as the 2025 purchases, those are the first 2 1/4 ounces. And I'm hoping, my goal is to, in 2026, I would like to add at least 6 more. And it can be one of the 3. It could be 6 American Eagles. Whatever I find the deals on. 6 American Eagle 1/4 ounces. It could be 6 Britannias or 6 Maple Leaves, or it could be a combination of any of those. But anyway, this airtight, or this capsule tube for airtights for 1/4 ounces will be somewhat close to me, just like the remaining Brit for the 1/10 ounce. These will be close, won't go into deep storage because they'll be in storage, but not deep storage. These will be moved over to deep storage. So that being said, this year I also picked up some really small fractionals, and this right here will probably, I thought about doing some type of a giveaway. I really don't. I picked these up off of Whatnot really early in the year in 2025. And I purchased them because I wanted to see what they look like. But after I got them, I really just they just don't fit my stack. So I've actually thought about doing these as a giveaway. I don't even record these I keep spreadsheets of everything that I have, what I paid for it, all that stuff. I don't even have these 2 listed on my stack. I'm not sure. I think they are 1/200ths of an ounce. It's just so small. And I just don't, I just don't record it. And I'm definitely not going to be filling these up as far as trying to get a tube of these or anything like that. So, like I said, very much considering just doing a giveaway on those and letting you guys have them, and you can decide what you want to do with them in your stack. But that being said, towards the end of the year, if you're watching the same auction that I purchased this proof 1/10 ounce Eagle, the same show, the same auction, I purchased a 5 gram. I wish it was 5 ounce. A 5 gram Royal Mint bar, and this 2 gram, how you say it, agar or whatever it is, but I can't. I'm not good with it. I'm Southern American, you guys, so you can just excuse my ability to read. I can't remember how people pronounce that. Either way, 2 grams and 5 grams. So after purchasing these, I thought, well, perhaps I will buy some gram bars. I haven't purchased anything smaller than a 1/10 ounce the whole time I've been doing my gold journey, which I'm 2 years into. But I did go ahead and pick up these 5 at different times at a LCS. And the reason I started picking these up is because I was actually getting these under melt at the time of purchase. So it was kind of crazy not to do it. So I went ahead and bought them as some side pieces, and then just kept adding them to them when I'd go in, and they'd still have more. And they do. My LCS does spot deals on Tuesdays, and he had so many of these, he was like, yeah, I can do these. And I think at the time of purchase, I paid like $5 under melt for these. So I picked them up and picked a couple up one week and a couple more the next, and maybe one more the next, or whatever it was, however it played out. But anyway, in the course of about 3 weeks, I picked up those and added those to the stack. Now, that being said, they're loose. So as far as me storing them, I don't really want them in these flips. I will keep these in their original assays, because obviously they are going to be worth more if I leave them in the assay. But these are just the little break-offs, Valcambi bars. So fish, with if you know, you know, is supposed to be trying to find, there's another channel, I'm trying to think of what his channel was called. He's fairly new as far as I know. I saw him display these. Somebody had given him a little insert that goes into these 1 ounce silver airtights, and it fits in there, and it holds 8 of these exact bars, and it gives us a place to store those. He gave one to Fish, and I believe he is trying to find someone who does 3D printing, and he's going to try to get some of them made. Can't hardly get this out. I'll do it that way. So hopefully he'll be able to find somebody, because I would love to get some of those. And I actually think it would be really cool to fill a guardhouse box full of these. Like I said, the way it's designed, it holds 8, 4 across the top and 4 across the bottom. And so you could fit quite a, you get a guardhouse box of 50, you're looking at probably holding, well, if you hold 8 of these, you're looking at what, a little over $1,000 per airtight by the time you weigh it all up. But I did want to show you something else real quick too. I purchased a scale, and already had 2 scales, but I purchased another one because of the last type of gold that I'm working on. And I purchased these things, and they come from China. And when I got it, I just wasn't sure. And I hope that this will show up. So I was concerned because this is the scale that I bought. I bought one that I was hoping would have a little more ability to break down the weights. And it comes with this 50 gram measuring weight. So I put when I received it, I put it on here, and as you can tell, it says 50.088. And I thought, man, if this is supposed to be, what you use, then I thought this scale's messed up, because this is supposed to weigh exactly 50 grams to the exact, and it didn't. And so I thought, well, like I said, it's 50.088. So this morning, I thought, man, my scale that I was going to use to weigh this, and I'll get into that here in just a second, I was like, that particular scale is not as good as the 2 scales that I have. But the difference is the new scale broke it down into the thousandths, as to where these other scales would only break it down into the hundredths and then the tenth. So I knew that these were good scales because I've used them for years. Well, when I put the 50 grams on it, as you can tell, if I tire it out, it says 50.00, but that says 50.0. So as I started to weigh this out, I noticed that this one would say 50.03, and it would go back and forth like it was picking up the extra weight. See, 50.04. So if you clear it out and reset it, again, it shuffles back and forth before it locks in. I don't know if this is actually 50 grams or if this brand new scale that I bought is not any good. What do you guys think? Because like I said, 50.084 is what it says now. So clear it out. 50.088. So I don't know. I don't know if I trust this new scale. Of course, I'm sure that these other ones are made in China too. But all of that being said, but I'll say this. I did check it this way. Let's see if it now did it right this morning. And I know that, and the reason why I was going to show you is because I tested it with these 1 grams. So if you put the 1 gram bar, the Valcambis, it actually weighs 1 gram. Put it up on the other scale, it is 1 gram. Put it on my new scale. Again, I think that the scale is no good. And that aggravates me. Because I waited so long to even get the thing. And I bought it because I actually thought that it was going to say down, of course I cleared it out and it says 1 gram, 0.000. So I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. You guys can let me know. I've never had one that was quite like that one. So, but that being said, I'm probably going to stick with this one for now because this is the one that I've used the most, and it's always seemed to be very accurate to me, and I really like it. It didn't have the little bowl for weighing out placer gold, or placer, however you say it. But that being said, I'm going to store these for now into this, and I hope that Fish is able to get these situated. So I'll just set that over to the side. Now, for 2026, and this is it. This is going to be the last part of my gold. 2026, I have a goal to start working on. And of course, I won't be able to do it in 1 year. This will be a multi-year project for me. But I told y'all before, I got into panning for gold. So you can buy gold pay dirt. This particular vial is actually 2 grams of gold. And it does weigh out to be 2 grams. It's actually slightly over. I did another pay dirt yesterday with my kids. And this is a gram of gold in this vial. But what I'm going to do is I am actually going to, I mentioned this in a video earlier this month to you guys, and y'all were like, yes, it would be so cool to see this jar as it fills up and to have a full jar of gold like this. Just like I used to love to watch Gold Rush. So I am probably going to start working on that this year. In fact, I know I'm going to start working on it. I've already got larger pay dirt bags headed my way. I will probably start doing a video or 2 of that just to show you guys because it is a lot of fun. But that being said, I did collect these 3 grams this year, so I am going to open this and go ahead. That will be the first addition to putting them into this jar. And let me get this cap off without popping it off, and I'll bring you right back in. All right, so I've got that little vial of 2 grams has been poured over into this bowl. And then here's the 3rd gram that we just did the other day. And I will go ahead and pour that in here. Make sure that we got it all out. All right. So, there it is. 3 grams of placer gold. And we are going to pour it over into the jar. And I'm going to have to get me a little brush for the future. Some of that flour gold is hard to get out because it likes to stick. But that being said, there it is. The first 3 grams inside the jar. And as you see, that fine dust just wants to stick to the jar a little bit. That'll eventually get a little bit better, but when you first put it in, I guess the moisture that's in the air makes it want to, but as it kind of settles a little bit, it does get a little bit better. At least it did in these little vials. These are glass as well. But yeah, there's the first 3 grams. My goal is to try to put, of course, you know, it's going to depend on, obviously, the price of gold throughout the year. I'm going to do my best to try to do about 5 grams a month is my goal. That would put me this time next year of adding almost just shy of 2 ounces of gold. There's 31 ounces. I'm sorry, 31 grams in an ounce. And I'm hoping to be able to put really close to 2 ounces of placer gold inside this jar this time next year. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. If the price of gold, you know, keeps going crazy, then obviously it's going to be kind of difficult to stick to that as far as budgetary reasons. Because I got a lot I'm working on. I am going to be working on this. So the placer gold I'll be working on, as well as the 1/4 ounce, and then the 1/10 ounce experiment that I'm planning on doing, as long as some of this, as well as some of the silver things that I'm going to do. But that being said, this video is getting kind of long, so I appreciate you looking. It's been a very prosperous 2025 for me. I hope it was for you guys, and I'm looking forward to 2026. But just remember that you build your wealth one asset at a time, so keep stacking.